Um, Maybe each of you can share, call it some insights, call it some integration or migration tips and tricks for someone who's listening, who's saying, okay, I'm on some sort of maybe it's a black box solution, maybe they're using some sort of a hardware, encoder that's been in a rack for many, many, many years, but, they need to modernize. Maybe it's a cloud solution. Maybe it's literally, like an OVP, an online video platform, whatever it is, they want to migrate for better flexibility, lower cost, all of the reasons that we talked about. Alexander, maybe you can start. What are, just share, some of the things that they should be thinking about, maybe some, some pitfalls that you had to step around that you can help them with. Just give your insights there for those who are thinking about making a migration to VPU and how they can make it easier on themselves.
Of course. So I think the first part that is very important is that they get their requirements right, that they understand what they really want, and it's easy to mix that with marketing material that you get from other solutions, and you think what I want is AWS media services, but that's not what you want. That's not your requirement. What is your actual requirement? And getting to the core of what the customer really needs and what they want to do is not as easy as it might sound. So the first step really is to make your minds up, what do you really need, and then put a business value to different options, and then make a business decision there. That's also important. It's not, we often talk to technicians and technology experts in companies. They have very specific ideas what they want to see, what they would like to implement, what they have done in the lab, what they have tried themselves in a lab environment. But is it what the business needs in terms of long-term profit or value? That's not always the case. So we often see that the people who have the budget, they depend on the technicians and technology people to define their requirements. And there is sometimes a mismatch. And if it's not cleared in the beginning, it falls on your foot and at the end of the project. So I think that's the most important part. Get your requirements right, get your business value right. What do you want to achieve? And that's something that an educated discussion can very quickly identify in the beginning, before you even go to any technical details.
Yeah, I love it. That just really resonates, as a proof point for those of us that have worked in, around the industry for a while, especially with some of the very, very large platforms and the hyperscalers and all. Each of these companies over time have built incredibly capable, usually a small or even a not so small group of PhDs who are really only looking after, video standards, and they're, into the details of their encoder selection, sometimes even building encoders, or certainly working very, very close, to their partners that they're licensing products from. There's a really interesting trend that I've seen recently over the last maybe year and a half. So, and that is that these groups still exist. It's true. Some companies are downsizing a little bit, or maybe they're reallocating. They're saying, hey, let's move some of those folks to go work in a different part of, of the streaming operation. But the focus of the group has shifted. And yes, they're still involved in standards, and they're still kind of doing a lot of the activities you would expect from an advanced technology and coding team. In other words, a whole group of PhDs, who they've dedicated their whole life and career to studying video encoding. But I'm thinking of one company in particular where all of a sudden these PhDs are now a part of building a whole new product for this company that is very important and very strategic. And previously that would have been completely outside of their remit. It's like, hey, our job is to evaluate encoders, stay up to date on latest developments of, AV1, AV2, VVC, LCVC, to run all the benchmarks. Like, that's our job. And the reason that I think this is really significant is that it's an example of where the technologists are getting more aligned to the business, because in this particular example I'm thinking of, what they are working on is really fundamental to the business, and is going to not potentially, already is looking to unlock billions of dollars of value and revenue streams. And so it's aligned with the business. And so I think one of the tips that you really hit on there, Alexander, is go back, sort of step back for a moment from the technology discussion and say, what is the business discussion? What's the impact? And then what are the best technology choices to drive that? So I love it.
That's perfect, and I think it rings with Parkinson's law, that the idea that any work expands to fill the amount of time that you allot it for.
Yes.
The same is true for the brain power. If you throw a lot of brain power and PhDs at a problem, they take their time. There is enough to talk about. But is there enough business value to justify that? That's a crucial question.
Yeah. That's great. Well, Dominique, what would you recommend?
No, I agree, and then it's important before, when you start on a project, that you know what the end goal should be, and then of course, for us it's slightly different. Alexander is more into the integration business, and then putting pieces and parts together, and then selecting the right parts. For us, of course, we need to know what the customer's requirements are, and if we can fulfill them or not, and if we need to put it on the roadmap or not. And I also, the business side, I think it's an important one, and what we see in lately is total cost of ownership becomes way more important on the business side than let's say 2 or 3 years ago. Like 2 or 3 years ago, decisions were made slightly different. These days, it's total cost of ownership, and then if you can slice down the number of hardware or resources required, if it's on-prem, it's hardware; if it's in the cloud, it's resources. In the end, it's power that you need. And then if you can slice it down on the transcoding side with VPU cards, where you need much less hardware or power, you can slice down the cost there. On the origin, the same. Also there we require performance, so we can slice down a number of hardware. And then if you then take total cost of ownership, then typically we end up pretty low compared to competitors. And then business is, as Alexander mentioned, an important topic where decisions are made. It's not only the technical; it's of course you need to be able to fulfill the requirements. That's must have for us, of course. And then business wise, we try to have the lowest total cost of ownership. Software, that's software you can discuss, but the less hardware we need, this will reduce the cost. Power supply, which sustainability these days is also a topic. It goes a bit hand in hand, but still, it's an important topic. Less hardware, less power, more sustainable. So I agree. Yeah.